All right, so let's move on. Let's talk about Jennifer. I always have to start that line. It's like my go-to. Because apparently their relationship has been, the talk of the town lately, obviously, because I've been talking about these damn two. It seemed like since the announcement of their separation, which I can't even remember when that started. It's probably been like a good 3 months since the beginning of the summer. Or maybe it was longer than that because people started noticing they were separated around March. And wasn't that shortly after she did that This Is Me Now uh musical, documentary, the album, that whole roll out, roll out. So Um, so yeah, so it was, with all of that, but now they're talking about Hollywood sources are spilling the tea on a long gestating divorce. Now, word on the street is that the reason why he decided to separate from Jennifer is due to him trying to protect his sobriety. Which is funny because I could have sworn that we was up in here talking about that. Remember when she dropped that Delulu liquor line, and we was sitting there being like, I remember people in the comments, and even me in my own brain, because I be thinking about 50 million things at once, and I had to snatch one of the thoughts and like hold it in my brain. My thoughts be doing that all day. So if y'all spend 5 minutes in my head, y'all probably be like, what the fuck? But what they're basically saying, like, wait a minute, how'd you come out with the Delulu liquor line, and you got a whole husband who has substance abuse addiction? Like, he's an alcoholic. He has been in rehab plenty of times, and here you coming out. Remember, she said, I don't drink. I'm not a drinker. But you sell a liquor, which goes to show that you ain't nothing more than could we refer to Jennifer as a grifter? Kind of like Donald Trump, like y'all will do anything for a coin. Y'all will do anything to get people to buy your products. So she's like in that way. And it's like, well, wait a minute. If you're not a drinker, why are you making alcoholic beverages? Now she's trying to backpedal and talk about she is I drink on occasion. Sure, sis. Just like you designed probably all the damn clothes that you be wearing from that J-Lo clothing line. Is that line still around? Or is that long gone and now she into the beauty products? So Radar Online can reveal that Affleck, who's 52 now, because today is his birthday, apparently quit his marriage to Jennifer, who's 55, because her glam lifestyle was putting his sobriety at risk. Now, according to a source, they said the marriage was incredibly overwhelming. Jennifer lives a very glam lifestyle, and he was often faced with temptation. Temptation is a part of life. It doesn't matter if it's wrong or right. Shout out to Karina. That song had to pop into my head. But anyway, Affleck, let me get serious. Focus. Affleck, who has struggled with addiction for years and has done multiple stints in rehab, was said to be risking his sobriety in that environment. And so he had to leave to avoid his worst nightmare, a relapse. And they said for years, Jennifer didn't drink, but after she launched her Delulu cocktail, it's Delola, but I gotta stick with the Delulu cocktail line in 2023, she clarified she does enjoy the occasional cocktail. Well, bitch, if you would have said that from the damn beginning, we would have believed you. And I wonder, but now it just seems like, girl, you're just trying to jump onto something as your next little thing that you're trying to sell to the people. And I'm sitting there wondering, I'm like, wait a minute. Has anybody actually tasted her Delulu? Put me on. Our inquiring minds want to know because as somebody, well, I don't know, I've never tried Delola. I wouldn't know, first of all, where you would get Delulu. So yeah, because I don't even know which place in any of the liquor stores that I would go. So you know what? Maybe I need to take a trip to the liquor store and be like, has anybody tried it? First of all, I wish Lindsay was up in here because I know Lindsay is a huge Jennifer fan, and I know that they would try anything that Jennifer does. So I wonder what her drink tastes like because I've never had it or even know where to get it. So they said the Kenny from the Block singer said last year, I do drink responsibly, but I don't drink to get shit faced. Which I remember when that line came out, people was like, it's Kareem. Like, who you trying to throw a dig at? But you talking about I don't get shit faced. Well, honey, at your age, you should be doing that. Like, first of all, at my big age of 40 plus, I don't even drink like that anymore. Like, I can't drink like that, like how I was drinking when I was in my 20s. And even sometimes in my 30s, like there would be periods where if I went out, I would literally do a binge drink and then I could just go weeks without having a drink. But no, I don't drink to get shit faced anymore because I've been there, done that. And when I have been there and done that, I wound up in situations that I'm not too proud of or feeling my body would be feeling all kinds of crazy the next day. So I don't really drink like that anymore. Now it's just like I have the occasional cocktail. I just want to drink to be, lit, have a good time. I stick to the same drink the whole night. Like don't switch up because when you start mixing, and that's another thing I realize people make too. Don't be mixing light and dark. Like, are you crazy? Like you start doing that, then you really gonna be exercising demons. So they also said that the insider basically said it's really unhealthy for him to be around any kind of alcohol. And with Hannaford, the drink came with parties surrounded by fake people who treated him special because of his fame, which was a trigger for him. Another trigger, well, Jack, you should have known that, marrying fake ass Hannaford. Another trigger was an unhappy marriage. Now, the Argo actor famously said in 2021, while discussing the end of his 10-year marriage to Jennifer Garner, they was married that long? He said, it's part of why I started drinking because I was trapped. Well, damn, you looking at relationships as being trapped. And I wonder how Jennifer Garner feels about that, because now you sitting there talking about you was trapped in a damn marriage. Sir, nobody put a gun to your head until you walked down the aisle with her. Just like nobody put a gun to your head and told you to walk down the aisle with Jennifer Lopez. But I realized when it came to that situation, I think he was just going along to get along. Ben gives me the type that he doesn't speak up immediately. Like, he's not very upfront and direct. I mean, I don't know, but based off of the things that I'm hearing, he doesn't seem like he's upfront and direct about his feelings and stuff. He waits until he lets it build and his back is against the wall to start lashing out. You sure you're not a Virgo, sir? Because sometimes, my sign be doing that where, we go in and it's like, we don't really speak up at first. Like we'll let things slide and then when it builds up, then we're like, oh no, now I got to start verbally windmilling bitches. And if it gets physical, it gets physical. But now I got to get to the point where I'm going to cuss you out. I'm mad. I'm tired. And then we eternalize things. So he gives me the type that he internalizes a lot. And then he'll go to certain vices because he's depressed or stressed out, which goes to show why he's always sad Ben. If I was like, I can't leave because of my kids, but I'm not happy. What do I do? What I did was drink a bottle of scotch and fall asleep on the couch, which turned out to be the solution. And wasn't that also a thing that we saw that Jennifer Garner was driving a car and Ben Affleck was passed out in the passenger seat? I remember that. So maybe that was another situation that was going on too. So it's like, yeah, it's like I'm married with the kids. I got the white picket fence, but I realize this is not what I want. I'm not happy with this person that I'm with, depending on what the situation is. But I have children. I have a responsibility as a dad where I got to take care of them. And you don't want to be in a situation because I don't know what Ben's life is like with his parents. I don't know if he's a child of divorce or whatever the case is. I haven't done a deep dive into his personal life. But I don't know if he came from like a broken home and it's like a repeated pattern because the sins of our parents, the trauma that we deal with as kids, we pass that over, most of us, unless we get therapy and all this other stuff, that trickles down into our adult life and we pass that to the children, unfortunately. Or sometimes I don't think people realize they do it, but they do it. So Affleck and Garner ultimately split in 2015, and he went to rehab 2 years later in 2017. Garner, who's now 52, even staged an intervention for the BVS actor, that would be Batman versus Superman, I gotta abbreviate things, and drove him to yet another rehab in 2018, the same year their divorce was finalized. Now, Affleck is said to be adjusting to a life alone again following his rumored split from Lopez. He has reportedly spent the last few months filming The Accountant 2, running the studio he founded with his pal Matt Damon, who's 53, in 2022, and preparing his next directing project. So the insider says he's moved on. His plate is full. That's just how Ben deals with adversity now that he's committed to staying sober. He buckles down and focuses on the work. He's not looking back. Ultimately, ending the marriage was his best decision. If Ben hadn't ended it, made me believe he would have eventually started drinking again, and that would have been a disaster. So, you know what? I think I said all I need to say about the whole thing with Hannaford and the fact of her creating the whole liquor line. Like, to me, I just feel like that was doomed from the beginning. Like, why would you be out here, like, even if you ain't thinking about it, because all Jennifer Lopez thinks about is money. Like, to me, she's always been that girl that cares more about money and living this lavish lifestyle. And you have a right to live that. You work hard for your money. You work hard to build your empire into what it is. That's why she's worth over $400 million because she built all this. But is it worth it when you trying to make a relationship work? I'm not saying that you need to dim your light or like make yourself small to make him feel bigger and better about himself. But at the same time, it's sort of like of all the things you decide to create, you decide to create a liquor line when when you're married to a known alcoholic and then not really understanding his addiction triggers. Like, why would you even, and then being all over Instagram recently posted her new Dolola liquor line. And so she's still up there with it. So I hope it was worth it. And my thing is with Ben gives me that you are just not built to be in a relationship. That maybe you just need to go, raise your kids, focus on the work. And if you're horny for some pussy, I'm sure there's plenty of girls out here that be willing to throw their cat in your direction. You could just wham bam, thank you, ma'am, send her on her way, get back to the work, and raise your children and be cordial with Jennifer Garner, because that's who you attach to for the rest of your life. Jennifer Lopez, y'all have no children together. First of all, her ex is powder at this point. She in the mid-50s. So you ain't got to worry about having a kid with her. I don't even know if there was a conversation similar to Sofia Vergara and Joe Manganiello. I don't even think if there was a conversation of that being brought up between them. And I don't even think Hennifer would even put her body at risk like that because she is a woman of color. And, women of color who have children at an adult age, that's a lot of wear and tear on your body, especially when you have to deal with or like diabetes and all kinds of other stuff. Like, remember hearing the stories about what her good Judy Mariah Carey had to endure when she was having those twins. I had to throw a little shade. But I say all this to say, what do y'all think of this story? Are y'all surprised by this whole situation? Like, to me, I was like, okay. Now with her, I even thought about it in my head when I first heard about her in the Delolo line, and she brought this up around hit them two and the whole kid thing. I mean, not kid thing, about the whole liquor line and his sobriety. It was like, how would that affect him with this? And now here we hear an article that's talking about it. So whatever y'all think of this story, let me know in the comments down below.